Hi. For my final project, I wrote a short story and then analyzed it in an accompanying essay. The story, Tomorrow Maybe, is an extension of Little Dummy, a sketch that I wrote during my undergraduate studies in creative writing. The sketch was meant to be a heuristic for the short story. I imagined the story just shy of the climax, but I never actually wrote it. Um, and at the time, I didn't really know why I couldn't, but later this semester, actually, I realized what happened. I had failed to cognitively and emotionally differentiate the fictional characters from their non fictional muses. Um, uh, I cared too much for the characters. I projected myself and people that I care about into them, and so I couldn't force them into the terrible situation that I'd imagined. Um, and so picking up this project again has been an experience in moving past personal distress to empathy. Um, so to set a goal line, I tweaked definitions of empathy that we've learned this semester and came up with a working definition, which is empathy is other oriented and requires self other differentiation. That's Copland. It's an imaginative act of perspective taking, also Copland. It exists on a continuum and can be called empathy as long as the experience of feeling with is more appropriate to another situation than one's own. That is Hoffman. It's experienced in affective and cognitive layers. That is Keen. And it does not require affective matching. That's Hoffman. I also fleshed out concepts of identification and compassion in order to clarify my goal. But because I felt like I needed a strategy to push me through personal distress, I used Keen's narrative empathy techniques to guide my writing. And although she means these techniques to be used to invoke readers' empathy, I thought that it might work as a formulaic approach to character and plot development. And her theories all seem to point to the rhetorical power of understatement. Um, a few of the techniques that I used were narrated monologue with a single focal center of consciousness. I wrote stories within stories and had flat characters with minimal specified traits. And it worked. Writing stories within stories functioned to speed up the pace of my writing. And also, it allowed my characters to transform from muses into independent beings. And then finally, I was able to write the climax and I gave my story an ending. That I was able to do this, I think, is evidence of having empathized with the characters as characters. I differentiated between myself and my characters, and between my characters and their muses. I engaged in perspective taking. Although I've never experienced assault the way my characters do, I felt their fear and anger and sadness and their hope and hopelessness. And then, most importantly, I didn't turn away from their suffering. I wonder if Keen would be surprised at how I used her work. Um, in any case, what I did is not evidence that her techniques for narrative empathy work for invoking readers' empathy. And I think she would agree. Um, if my goal were to invoke readers' empathy, I doubt I would use empathy in the novel as an instruction manual. So that is my project.